How do you fund your startup and fast? If you're a startup, that means that you do not yet have revenue. So, a couple of options, the usual, are angel investors, venture capitalists or VCs, incubators, private investors, etc. All those options require a very thorough business plan, networking, presentation, etc. etc. This video is for none of those entrepreneurs. This video is for entrepreneurs who are looking to finance their business fast within 5 to 10 business days. First, what I'm referring to, this startup funding, it's really based on personal credit. So you can get funded within 5 to 10 business days. And the way it works is that you have a mix of installment loans and business credit cards. We do that for you at Zoryn Capital. So we give you a mix of that. So the installment loans are really on your personal side. It's personal funding. It reports to your personal credit. And we give you business credit cards. And then that reports to your business credit. So that's a big plus because you have those two reportings going at the same time. The rates are very favorable. Let's say for business credit cards, you have very often 0% between 6 to 18 months, depending on what you qualify for. And then you can use those credit cards same as cash as well. We use like third parties like Miedo. You can pay like contractors, etc. Now for the personal installment loans, it's 3, 5 to 7 years. We'll run you through that. So those are the favorable aspects. The max you can get is around $250,000. Who is it for? It is for entrepreneurs who really have a good credit. So first of all, credit of 680 plus, and I mean the lowest of the three bureaus. So the average credit needs to be 680 plus. Second, you need to use less than 30% of your total credit. It's called a credit use. So as an example, if you have a $100 credit card, you need to use less than $30 out of that total credit card. I've had a client who got approved for, it was like 65%, but that was a one-off. But in general, those are the terms. Lastly, 3, you need to show income. Not necessarily, but it makes a big difference. What I mean by that, as an example, for the installment loans, this is a requirement, but not for the business credit cards. So that client got approved for $100,000 in an installment loan. However, for $25,000 only in their business credit card. So therefore, if he couldn't show income, they ask him for $65,000 of income a year. So you need to be able to show it either in W-2 pay stubs or if you're self-employed in taxes, right? If he could not show that, then he could get only the $25,000 credit cards, whereas he could get $125,000 in total if he could show the income. So that shows you the difference. Now, certain example, right? Because for you to get approved for 250,000K, you need to have a really, really good credit. So some people have lower credit, most of the people. So I had these 3 entrepreneurs as an example. They were starting a business. They all have had 3 good credit. So they applied and they were able to get around 100,000 each, so 300K in total funding. And some other entrepreneurs, and this is the important part. As an example, I had an entrepreneur, a business person actually. He had a full running business in Margate, Florida, and he had a problem with his credit. and he wanted that personal funding. So what he did, he used a sponsor. The sponsor is very important. You can use a sponsor. So his wife has the proper requirement, and he got $60,000 from having his wife sponsor a loan. At the same time, I had this other client in Florida too. He had a credit problem, so he used his mom. He was able to get $50,000 on that line, on that funding. I mean, so the average funding that we find is between $60,000 to $90,000, and it really depends if you can show income or not. If not, we'll still get you approved for the 0% business credit card. So, our biggest growing sector in that funding is what they call gap funding. What is gap funding? It's in real estate. Let's say you get approved by hard money lenders. Let's say you're buying a property for $100,000 and you get 80% financing. So the lender will give you $80,000 and you need to come up with that remaining $20,000. So a lot of people, what they do that funding, that startup funding, that personal funding for that remaining 20,000. So they get a personal loan and a business credit card, and they can not only fund their down payment but also the closing costs and etc. This has been our biggest growing sector lately. I hope that this video helped you. Now, for funding, if you need funding, we have a one-spot place. It's a 5-minute funding at Zoryn.com. I put a link for you below. Or call us. Reach out to us. We know exactly, we're seasoned business people, and we know exactly where to guide you to the best funding possible for you. I put another video here for you to learn more about business funding. Thank you. Cheers.